We're going to take the North and never give it back.
So that's a good pick. You get the corner. I got to go bold, right? I got to go bold for this.
Yeah, she's got some nice long
Welcome back to the Unbearable Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Brad. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're out there on YouTube. And also rate the show 5 stars everywhere that you get your podcast. And you want to stay tuned because tomorrow we'll be breaking down the All-22 for free live on the channel. So make sure to get out there onto YouTube and watch. Like I said, absolutely free. And we'll go through every single play and break it all down. But right now, it's time for instant reactions. So everyone out on YouTube, let me know what you thought of the game down inside of the comments. Do you feel after this game that, hey, it's going to be playoffs? Do we feel like, just hey, it's just another game? How is everybody feeling out there? But man, it was just good to have football back. Like that was the biggest thing for me, is when you have football back, it just feels nice. It's like, okay, I get to, it was weird. I was like, okay, it's noon. I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to watch the football game. And yeah, but it was amazing. And also too, I wanted to say this for those that know, I live in Wisconsin. I've said that before, and I just want to kind of reach out to anyone that, I hope everyone who, I know we have a lot of people that listen to this show like me in Wisconsin. I hope everyone who was affected by those floods, hope you're doing well, because where I live, we got dumped on by rain, but I don't live too close to Milwaukee. So luckily my basement, all good. So that was one of the things that kind of kept me up a little bit this morning. It was like, I woke up to my wife saying, hey, our neighbor's basement flooded. It's like, oh crap. So ran over, but hey, we got some football. But let's see. Also, broski, what is good? Yeah, Sunday, basement was not flooded, so it was a good day. It was a good day for sure. But let's go into just the overall summary. How do we feel? This was a tied game, 24-24 with the Bears. And I'll tell you this, my overall feelings, like if I just had to kind of say overall, I like the game. It was fun. I like that they at least put the kind of the backups in for a first half. It makes it very easy to follow. And yeah, I think that it was entertaining. And the biggest thing was the game itself seemed very put together. It seemed very well put together, very well, like it, when we have, it's hard to describe. It's not very Matt Eberflusy, if that makes sense, where it just seemed like everyone knew what they were doing out there. And yeah, we had one illegal formation call, but you actually felt like, hey, this is actually what the hits principle was supposed to be with Matt Eberflus, but we don't have some lame acronym or anything like that for this team. They're just simply coached up to do the right thing. But also too, besides this whole game being in a tie, this was the Austin Booker game. This man, he had a 31.5% pass rush win rate, which even seems low, because when you're watching the game, this man was just it was an absolute beast. Absolute chaos was happening every single time that he was playing. But not about anybody else. I still kind of feel this little bit of like in the back of my mind. I'm kind of like, okay, he did this last season. He did this last year. So hopefully it translates to regular season success. But that's where I think a lot of us Bears fans are kind of like a little skeptical, almost a little bit too, to be like, hey, I know this was amazing, but you did this last year. But did this translate to regular season success? Because Austin Booker has not been somebody that has really shown out in training camp. He hasn't been turning a lot of heads. He hasn't really been someone that you really hear much about, because he hasn't been like this. But preseason comes on and Austin Booker becomes the best defensive player known to man, just dominates. He becomes Richard Dent 2.0 and just starts dominating. But man, he had 5, let me just pull up the stats. 5 pressures, a forced fumble, 3 sacks. Like I said, 31.5 pass rush win rate. And right now, his unofficial PFF grade is a whopping 92.9, which is elite. Which we kind of expected it, and also too, besides all that, he was all over the field. And I think that is what is so promising, is that he is running everywhere. He's running after the ball carrier. He's always done that. So it's amazing to see. And also you kind of saw him with a little more bulked up. So it's all good stuff with that. And two, I also love that we stopped them on fourth down. I think that was the other big like overall impression, was because in the preseason, it's difficult to kind of take away, okay, this, certain schemes or something like that, because no one is really running their actual scheme. They're running very basic plays out there. And what I really love is when you just have a handoff up the middle, like they did with their starters, right? The Miami Dolphins were so mad that we dominated practice. They kept their starters in for the first drive against our backups. They drove down, kudos to them, but then we stuffed them right up there, right in the front. Amazing. It was amazing. And it's no game plan. It's just person on person, and the backups held them. You gotta love that. But other things too, I'd say just like summarizing everything. I think another thing too, we joked about it earlier on, when we were kind of previewing this. I'm like, are we going to have the Bagent lovers out here? Like, hey, see, this is why that Bagent guy should have been the starter since day one. Instead, Bagent, I just thought had an okay game. But here's the thing. I'm not necessarily celebrating that. I'm just saying he's a good backup. And yeah, he's a good backup. He's not unbelievable or anything like that. But can we please stop with Bagent over Caleb or anything like that? Yes, we have not seen Caleb yet, but you hear what people say, how this can be the best quarterback that they've played with. The players understand the talent, and that's what I'm excited to see too. But also I want to say as well, speaking of Caleb, his best friend John Jackson, needs to go. 2 big drops and 3 incompletions in a row when the Bears were trying to score to actually win the game in the fourth quarter. That was something I'm like, all right, maybe his BFF shouldn't be out there because he is actually Caleb's best friend. Yeah, maybe it's the whole Giannis's brother thing, right? Giannis, Thanasis, and all those guys, they're not great. Jackson always is on the preseason team. Yeah, maybe next year we don't need that because he did not look good out there. But also too, other pieces as well. I felt like going for it on fourth down. Yeah, one could say that maybe it was because it's the preseason. But I legitimately think that is what Ben Johnson's going to do. Ben Johnson's going to go for it on fourth down. Ben Johnson is going to be doing that. That's what the Lions did. And that's also what Ben's going to be doing. And also, he expects greatness out of this offense. I know all the time, like when the Bears versus Aaron Rodgers, I always loved it when they punted it on fourth down because I'm like, you guys were dominating us anyways. So punt it on fourth down. Don't go for it on fourth because you'll probably get it on fourth. Hopefully this offense is good enough that, yeah, we continue to go out and attack it on fourth. But my last this is supposed to be a brief summary. I had like 8 bullet points. My other thing too was I noticed a lot of 5-man fronts from Dennis Allen. And that's another big takeaway, that it's not necessarily, 3 defensive tackles and 2 defensive ends. But when you look at this depth chart, they list 3 starting defensive tackles. And when you look at this team, defensive tackle is very deep. Defensive end, we all have our concerns about that position with the depth, which we'll go through later on. But the thing that we saw was they really it wasn't necessarily 3 defensive tackles, but they had 2 defensive tackles and 2 defensive ends shifted over to the side. And then you had a linebacker like a Noah Sewell on that outside edge to really kind of act as like another defensive lineman, but a stand-up rusher. So the reason why I want to call that out, yeah, it's kind of a 4-3 under that, it's its own specific, it's a variation of the 4-3. But when you have that wide defensive line, first off, that actually goes very well against like the McVay disciples and stuff like that. But also too, I like it because maybe you can throw 3 defensive tackles out there. You throw Gervon Dexter and Grady Jarrett on the outside edges or in kind of like as your 3-man front, if you will. And you're almost kind of playing a variation of a 3-4 system. So it's just something that I noticed with it where it wasn't just later on they were playing more traditional 4-3 and, nickel and other stuff like that. But that Dennis Allen wants to throw different looks. And that was something that really did stand out to me was the different looks that they had with essentially the 5-man fronts. But let's see what y'all have to say out there in the comments, because I've been rambling for a while. So let me read this out here. We got Romy out there. What's good, my friend? Saying next week with the starters is what I'm looking forward to. Agreed. That's what I'm hoping for. I didn't miss the starters as much as I thought I would miss the starters, to be honest with you. But yeah, I just want to see them. I want to see Rome. I want to see Caleb. And I just hope that it looks good, right? And yeah, Taco Man saying start of the game was rough. And Broski saying, don't you think the starting offense should have played a quarter? I do. I really do. I still think that they should be out there, right? I didn't miss them as much as I thought, but I definitely think that they should have been out there. And Braxton Jones, oh man, we'll be breaking down Braxton Jones. Don't you worry about that. Let's see. That's your second. Yeah, seconds out there. Don Burr, just here to see y'all celebrate a tie. You better believe it, Don. We're going to celebrate if it's a tie. We're going to celebrate it for 500, man. And then Joe, what's good? We are in serious trouble at left tackle. We'll break that down. Break that down next after the injuries. Actually, yeah, that'll be the next. And then C-Spag saying Trapilla was a beast. And Taco Man, oh my God, that blitz at the end was magical. And then we got Broski. Don talking the Lions. Yep, there we go. And then also Marcus Samanun guy is gonna, yes, I like it. I like it. Let's get into, so before we get into the offense, because I want to dive deeper into this offense, let's get into the injuries. And I always got to talk injuries because I always just want to kind of break this down. So when it comes down to the injuries, overall, Karana Magaji, which it's a big, if you want to talk negatives, right? Risers, fallers, whatever you want to call it. Karana Magaji not being out there is big because he should be in the competition of this. And the injuries have been something that we have not really seen, or like that we have been concerned about. And that's why we haven't been able to see him. And also too, I don't even think that he played in a preseason game last year too. So for him to get those reps, they're very, very meaningful for him. And then also too, Bill Murray, not out there. Doug Kramer, not out there. Kyler Gordon, Shamar Turner, Roshan Johnson. Roshan Johnson, I wish was out there. And Zay Frazier. Then Amen Ogbong Bamiga, Travis Homer, Major Burns, Terrell Smith, and Luke Newman all go out with injuries during the game. Gotta hate that. So gotta kind of monitor some of those injuries. Travis Homer, no offense, not too nervous about that, and more of a calf injury. Major Burns ruled out with a knee injury, so we'll just have to look at that. I know a lot of people, myself included, really wanted to see him, but Terrell Smith being down with the groin injury really does stink because we saw him almost get that pick six, and I've been rooting for him. I think that with him, he's so good. He's a good corner. Just make him start, right? And then Luke Newman, I'll actually break this down as we kind of go into this, because let's talk about the offense, and let's talk primarily about this offensive line, because Luke Newman, I watched a little bit of him because number 63, and let me pull up his name. And 1 second, because anytime you saw pressure, and we'll see this when we do the All-22 review tomorrow, Chris Glazer, number 63, I know you're trying to make the roster, but please, Bears, get rid of him and put someone else out there. Every time you saw pressure up the middle, Chris Glazer was the right guard, and someone was just blowing by him. And right at the very beginning, when you saw Tyson Bagent getting attacked constantly, number 63 was being beat. Number 63 didn't know who was next to him. Awful. So first off, just want to throw that out there because that was not good. The other thing too was when we talk about this offensive line, then I saw Luke Newman come in. And Luke Newman, I was very surprised. Yet again, still have to grind the tape and just double check it. This is on first, initial watch. When he was out there, he wasn't bad. I liked what I saw. So obviously later on, we'll just kind of get the official, feelings on him. But I was pleasantly surprised. I was not expecting him to play halfway decent, but he did. But now let's talk about this left tackle. Let's talk about this left tackle situation, because I don't know about you guys, I'm kind of nervous. I didn't feel comfortable. I don't feel as comfortable as I did going into this game about the left tackle situation, because what I saw out there, And yet again, and I'll just say this, everything is pending review, right? Everything is pending review. We'll just kind of have that. Braxton made some bad blocks, right? We all saw that. There were some bad blocks out there. And Ozzie, unfortunately, Ozzie looked a lot like how I saw him at Boston College. He's the same person where I don't see this gigantic ceiling, but I see where you see him as an offensive lineman. Yet again, we are one preseason game in against backups and other things like that. And I don't think that Ozzie had a bad game. I just didn't see much domination. Yet again, that's also kind of his MO, is he doesn't dominate someone. He just kind of plays the position. So we'll review it. We'll kind of see how it is. But that's where I just had a little bit of nervousness when watching this game because Braxton didn't look great. Maybe he's still kind of nursing that injury a little bit. But he got beat by backups a couple times. That's not good. And this is the guy that's supposed to be the starter. And yet the other backups, minus Chris Glazer, arguably playing better than what he did. So that's where just I think I'm not hitting the alarm bells, but I'm just kind of going, okay. Can one of you guys just be the starting left tackle, please? Please? That's what we want. Yet again, I feel more comfortable having a question at just one position on the offensive line and like one legit question than others because at that left tackle spot, you can, yet again, ship with tight ends, other things like that. But I just didn't really think, I didn't love the left tackle stuff. And yeah, I see Shy Drax, what's good, my friend, saying, yeah, Braxton was bad. Taco saying Brax has it on lock. We'll have to see. We'll have to see for sure. And Taco Man saying, how's Jalen? Any more news? Supposedly there was an interview today, and when asked about Jalen Johnson being there for week 1, they were silent. So that's like the worst answer you could get. So I am nervous. I don't know if he's actually going to play. Nashawn Wright seemingly had like a pretty decent game, it looked like. But let's see too. So yeah, with the offensive line, nervous. I was a little nervous about the left tackle spot. But other things too. I was surprised to see Ryan Bates playing center because I have not seen in training camp Ryan Bates playing center, but there he was starting center. And it might just be because Doug Kramer was out. So they wanted to just not have Ricky Stromberg as the only center. But from what I saw, he wasn't awful. And yet again, Ryan Bates as a backup offensive lineman, that's awesome. I do not mind that whatsoever. As a backup offensive lineman, he's solid. As a starter, right? As a starter, you don't want to see that. So Ryan Bates, it was nice to at least kind of see him get some center reps. And I also was interested to see Tyler Scott kind of out there with the quote unquote first team, right? The backups. Now, yet again, he made a catch. He made a catch out there, but it wasn't anything, it was just like a little stick, nothing too crazy with him at all. But I will say, so just to kind of wrap up some of the offensive line talk, the other thing too was I wasn't necessarily too impressed with Theo Benedette, yet again, upon pending review, but also Ricky Stromberg was interesting. He was playing some center second half of the game, and I liked what I saw. Just there was a couple like big time whiffs. It was like, oh man, I was like watching it going, oh, I really like what Ricky's doing. Then all of a sudden, huge whiff, and you're like, oh, okay, man. So yeah, some ups and downs with Ricky Stromberg, but I thought he honestly played pretty darn well. Actually, looking at the comments too, yeah, Broski just said, yeah, Stromberg potentially claimed the backup. I will say, yet again, I am not a Doug Kramer fan with what he does out there, and Stromberg looked to be better. So that was something that I kind of just had to take away with this offensive line. But the next piece is the wide receivers. Let's talk some receivers, because with this, we saw Luther Burton. He made a reception. And if we're looking at just the overall receiving numbers, Jahdae Walker, 3 receptions, 41 yards on 5 targets. And I want to bring this up. We'll actually start with the backups, because Jahdae Walker was someone that really stuck out that we have not heard anything from. Now, does he make the team? Let's not jump the gun right now. But this is something that we were expecting JP Richardson to be the person with the backups, because he was the one getting the receptions. He was the one getting the targets. And JP Richardson, only 2 catches on 2 targets, and both of those were screens. It felt like they were trying to get him the ball as like, hey, happy first game, here's the ball. So I thought it was very telling that Jahdae Walker was the person that it seemed that the quarterbacks wanted to throw to. When they were in trouble, who do you throw to? It seemed like Jahdae Walker was their guy. And that was something that I just came away very impressed with, and just going to keep my ears open for some Jahdae Walker stuff out there, because maybe he turns up the heat a little bit with JP Richardson. So that's something that I'm definitely going to be looking at. But I thought he made a great over-the-shoulder catch for the touchdown grab. Beautiful ball placement as well on that throw too. Thought it was really good. The other piece too is, as we're talking wide receivers, Luther Burden, 2 catches. 1 was overthrown, but then 2 catches overall for 29 yards. The other piece too was Maurice Alexander. I wanted to call out because Maurice Alexander had 4 receptions for 19 yards. And similar to Jahdae Walker, he seemed to be the person that when someone was in trouble, they'd throw him the ball. Or when they needed to get some yards, they threw him some screens. He got some yards. Now, maybe for me, I wish that they did that with Luther. I want to see Luther Burden. Or maybe they don't want to uncage him, right? Because he's so good. He's just an absolute animal with the ball in his hands. And they're like, hey, we're going to tuck you aside until week 1, right? We don't want to unleash the beast until then. But still, for me, it just seemed like Maurice Alexander just was someone that they could rely on and threw the ball to. So came away kind of impressed with him. But overall, with Durham Smythe, was not impressed with as yet again 3rd string tight end. So made it extra glad that we at least have Colston Loveland. But from a receiver's perspective, no one else really kind of stood out too much, right? Devin Duvernay didn't pop off the page. You know that he's got some speed, but that was about it. But let me see what y'all are saying out here with this. Let me just kind of read through some of the comments that we got going on. Got some pieces with this. Yeah. The Taco Man said, thought Tyler Scott was going to go off. I was disappointed. Yeah, I think that I agree with Broski. I think that he's going to be someone that is eventually going to be flipping burgers. Especially when you see like Maurice Alexander, right? They might like Maurice Alexander more than Tyler Scott. You do see the speed with Tyler Scott that he just has, but it's that question of just, can he be a wide receiver? And yeah, the drops too. That's the other piece as well. And then next, yeah, bear with me, say I'm taking Booker over Rashawn Gary or Hutchinson. Kid's a star. Love to see that. Love to see that. So let's see as well. Other pieces too. Let's get into the running backs, because the running backs, one thing that I loved is this guy right here, and that is Mr. Ian Wheeler. And actually, I need to talk about my boy None guy, but let's talk about Ian Wheeler real quick, because that to me was something that was awesome. Even though 2.9 yards average, you saw the touchdown run that he had that got taken away. What I love was that Ian Wheeler, did not look, I'm going to be a stickler. I do not think that he was as fast as he was last season, but the dude was still fast, right? He can still outrun 99% of the people out there on the field, right? He is still blazing fast, and he's a fighter. And that's the thing that you love to see with him. But yeah, it seemed like there was just like a little hitch, a small little tear down. Unfortunately, we saw, if you put them side by side, really nitpicking, I thought that he was not as fast as last season, but you still see the fight with him. So I think that practice squad, right? Speaking of that, I thought that I was kind of surprised with Deion Hankins. I was not expecting anything. I thought he ran hard. I thought that he had some good pop to him. Still like Wheeler more, but I also thought it was interesting to see Hankins getting the reps over Wheeler. Maybe it was an injury thing, but that was something that kind of made me go like, wait, Hankins is in? Okay, maybe Wheeler's banged up. And then I see Wheeler. I'm like, wait, why didn't Wheeler get those reps instead? So something just to monitor at least with that. But we got to talk about the man, Kyle Monangai. What do we think about Monangai out there? Let me see what people are saying out there. Yeah, the thing with Monangai, you see how hard he runs. And that's the thing that I love, is that he just runs hard and just finds the hole, runs hard, and he's just a fighter out there. Should have had a touchdown, but that's when they had the illegal formation, and then they had to kind of bring it back. But I like Munungai. Now, the thing that I will say, he is my boy, but the pass protection, that was something that low-key, some nervousness about, just because you would see larger linebackers kind of blow him up in pass coverage. There was some times that he kind of held his own. Other times against larger ones, kind of got tossed aside. That's where Roschon Johnson's got the size. He's a big guy. Still, there's those questions about just his overall health that I think is going to be the biggest question. But Munungai, you saw the fight with him. Now, with all this being said, the whole talk about running back, with them talking to Jamal Williams and bringing in Jamal Williams, that's something that kind of gets me a little bit scared. Because when you talk about Munungai, you talk about Roschon Johnson, why aren't they? If they were happy with their power guy, they would not be looking at Jamal Williams. They would not be like kind of bringing him in. That's just my 2 cents. Unless they just want to say like, hey, does he have something in the tank? For one, unfortunately, if Roschon gets a concussion or something like that. But yeah, I think that they still want to know what to do with that goal line back. But I liked what I saw out of Kyle Munungai. Yet again, these are backups, but still you saw him fighting out there and doing pretty well. So that's my overall take with that. Bear with me saying Munungai isn't going to last long with concussions. Romy saying it's RB2. Joe saying Munungai shifty with some wiggle. And then Broski saying Munungai is Pacheco 2.0. Love that. King George saying Deion Hankins will take Roschon Johnson's spot. Oh, wow. Really pulling for the kid as a real power back. Got some Deion Hankins love out there. I like it, George. And then what else we got to? Broski saying Jamal Williams is a waste of time. I am nervous. I think he's a fun guy. Fun guy like Munungai. But Jamal Williams, he had a very bad season last year. That's the thing that kind of gets me like, oh man, do we really want that? Marcus Allen saying Munungai will be a dog, and I see the sneaky speed. It is. It's that sneaky speed that he does have. And also talking about saying, didn't we use a lineman in the red zone? Yeah, exactly. When you got Doug Kramer fumbling on the one, yeah. Who needs a power back when you got him doing that? Last little bit that we'll just kind of recap with this offense as well is just the quarterbacks. Like I said before, Tyson Bagent didn't wow me too much, but yet again, he's the backup. I thought that he played solid. 13 for 19, 103 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, was sacked twice. Again, I thought that there were some pass protection problems out there. There should have been a touchdown, but Braxton was getting beat. Glazer was getting beat. And I thought that there was some pressure in his face. Keenum, I thought, had a good game. 8 for 10, 80 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I still don't think that this is an actual competition. I still think Tyson's going to be that backup. Case Keenum's going to be on the practice squad. Austin Reed, unfortunately, is going to be coaching high school or something like that. I can't see why they would want to keep him on the team. I was still flabbergasted that they kept him on the team last season as well. Seems like a nice kid. Seems like an awesome dude. But just don't really understand why they kept him on last season. So we'll see what they end up doing. Super Bowl Bears saying Keenum is QB2. But yeah, I thought Keenum had a good game. Very, very good. Very, very good placement out there. But let's see what else we got out there. But yeah, overall with offense, let me just kind of read through some of these. Yeah, I just thought that it was good. Just thought that it was solid, right? Just really, really liked it. But now that is the offense. That is the overall take on the offense. And actually, let me go into the backups. Yeah, nothing else there. But I agree with Drax, man. I like this quarterback room. I 100% agree with that. I thought that Bagent's good. You want him as a backup. And yeah, like the interception, I don't know if it's fully. And I see Broski saying this too. Yeah, like I don't know if it was 100% his fault with it. Like, but I thought he just played well, right? I thought that he played well. I thought that Keenum played well. And then you got Austin Reed yet again. There's a couple plays like can't really throw it deep, but yeah, it was good. I really like the quarterback room, and especially since you do have someone like a Keenum. That you have Keenum, who's like, let's just gush about this quarterback room. You have Keenum, who's another coach, but he can still play. And then 2, you also have someone, and also people forget that Keenum was someone that was coming out of Houston. He was someone that was in like this air raid system and can help with this. He's not necessarily always been this pro style quarterback that already knew all these things about being in a pro style system. He had to learn, just like what Caleb has to do. But then also you have Tyson Bagent, who is just an absolute monster with work ethic. And if you work with someone that has kind of that mentality, right? That is just this constant hard worker and constant go, you kind of want to raise your standard as well. So I really like that. I really, really like that. But let's see what else there. It needs to start over. Yeah. That Bagent needs to start. Agreed. Super Bowl Bears. And then we got real Bears fan. In the past 25 years, there have been 350 quarterbacks with 100 attempts in a season. Caleb is ranked 520th at completion percentage, throwing over 10 yards at 5 to 12 yards. So, other things too. Let me see. Would you put at QB2 now? Let me see. And also 50% saying good, 27% saying they feel playoffs, 23% saying meh. So now let's go over to the defense. So let's flip over to the defensive side of the football. And here we go. Here's the stats. So like we said, this was the Austin Booker game. I previewed that at the very, very beginning. We gushed about him. But let's talk about some others. Because the thing that I want to bring up is that I thought the linebackers played really well. I thought that Ruben Hippolyte, he came away with 6 tackles, 1 tackle for loss. I thought he looked good. I thought he was very quick. Yet again, I want to see with the tape kind of where he was at, but I was very impressed with him and Sewell. And this is one of the first times we really got to see Noah Sewell. And the thing that I like too, I talked about that kind of 5-person front that they were kind of doing with 4 defensive linemen and 3 linebackers. I love Noah Sewell being that player. That is taking a player and using him for what he's good at. And I said this before with like Noah Sewell. Noah Sewell's not a coverage guy. Noah Sewell is an attack. He is like another defensive end. And if you're playing him on the line of scrimmage like they were doing, like as a stand-up linebacker, I love that. And I thought that his pursuit was great. He had 6 tackles, 1 tackle for loss. I thought that he played very, very, very well. So him, Hippolyte, I liked what we saw. So yet again, we'll have to consult the tape just to kind of see where the positions were, but they were flying. They were around the ball. Usually when that happens, it's good. So usually when that stuff is out there, it's good. Other things too, Passanio kind of blew up a couple different plays. So he kind of like stood out a little bit to me. Other things as well, you saw Dominique Robinson. And we were talking about him before that he's someone that kind of pops up and he looks big. We knew that he gained some weight. And when you see it on him, you're like, okay, this dude he's a Dennis Allen defensive end right now. Now he's going into his final year of his deal. But hey, it's going to be, we've always been like, hey, is Dominique Robinson going to get cut? He was playing well. I liked what I saw out of him too. Now, wasn't as dominant as like a Austin Booker. He's going against backups, right? There's those different pieces, but I thought that he played well. Now, overall with the other starters, it seemed like a lot of people were trying to throw it against Flowers. But he was also making plays. He was making some tackles. I thought he had an up and down game. Like I said, with Terrell Smith, I want to see Terrell Smith almost getting that interception, but then gets banged up. The groin injury. Would love to see him back out there because I think that he's good. And I think that also Blackwell had some up and down, was targeted. It seemed like a couple of his guys were frequently targeted, but also he made some good plays out there as well. So let's see other pieces as well from this defensive side. Elijah Hicks did play. Yes, he did. He played up at the line a couple times. There was one time that he just completely, he like whiffed or over pursued. I can't remember exactly, but I remember being like, oh man, 22, Hicks, what the heck were you doing on that play? But then there's another play that he played well. Didn't really see him too much though. Let's see. Let me look at some of the other comments that y'all have out there. Yeah, motivator. Got some other pieces out there. And other pieces. All right. Now, let's go into some of this. I always put scrubs, but it's always kind of disrespectful for like the second half players. Second half players, other people that kind of stuck out. Carl Jones stuck out to me really quickly, and I was like, man, you see the speed. You saw him like first play out there, goes in the middle, breaks up the running play, looked great, right? And then the next play goes to the outside, makes a play on the outside. And then for the rest of the game, you're like, does this guy know how to tackle? and that's the thing that I feel like we're going to see is he seems like he's got the speed. And I think that's why every now and again you hear Carl Jones's name, because he just kind of pops. He's got this great speed to him. But then I think his tackling, which is a pretty big thing that you need out of your linebackers, is still a question. Now, Dennis Allen likes a fast linebacker. That's what Carl Jones brings. But I will say too, Swayze Bozeman, I thought had a couple good plays as well. Kind of surprised me because I was like, who's that guy? And yeah, Swayze Bozeman kind of surprised me a little bit too. Other things as well. The other, like one of my last little notes that I have was someone who basically played the entire game. And that was, we saw Pickens. And I know some people out there are going to get mad at me because Pickens got a sack. So people are going to say Pickens had a great game. I didn't really see it. Yes, there was the sack. The quarterback was holding it onto it for a while, but I just didn't see much. There was a couple plays that I felt like he was getting pushed back. This is supposed to be someone that has been used as someone to anchor your defensive line, and I didn't see an anchor. The anchor was skirting away. But then if you say, well, maybe he should be more of a pass rusher, right? We didn't see much penetrative power. Now that's where we can also go into like a Chris Williams, where I don't even think he logged a tackle. But the thing that we've said about Chris Williams versus Zach Pickens in this is that Chris Williams is a penetrator and Pickens is not, quote unquote, like he holds the line, quote unquote. He's a run stuffer, but you don't really see him hold the line. And that's my biggest thing. I'd rather have someone that, yeah, he might get pushed back, but you at least have some of this potential upside of Chris Williams penetrating the line. They're also around the same age too. So there's not like a huge jump with either or. I just didn't really see much out of Pickens. And a lot of times too, there was some injuries, right, with Shamar Turner. But sometimes when you have someone playing the entire game, a lot of times it's people want to see, what do we have out of this guy so that if we do cut you, then we know for sure. So that's something that I would love to see. But the thing that I just don't love is you do not see any sort, like with Javon, you saw the growth, you saw the steps forward. With Pickens, I just do not see him like, there's never been a game that I'm like, oh yeah, you got better, right? There's the pops that you see, but that's normal for a lot of defensive linemen is you get like a play or stuff like that. So that's my overall feeling with that overall. So let's see any other takes on this defense. Let's see what y'all are saying out there in the chat. Sean, what's good, my friend? Hope you've been well. We got Taco Van saying Turner's going to be our next Kevin White. Oh man, I hope not. But then we got King George saying Pickens is a death piece, still developing. Hope so. Roshi saying Pickens is a D tackle who can't tackle. Terrific. And then let's see. We have Pickens sucks from Super Bowl Bears. Let's see what else we got. Another polls bust. Going through. Yeah, nothing much from that defensive side of the football. I'm thinking through with others, like the other backup defensive linemen didn't see much from. You saw Hardy actually playing defensive end, so we can finally confirm he is going to be more of that defensive end, because there was some people saying that he was playing at linebacker. So then that's what I reported. So he was playing some linebacker, but now it looks like, hey, with the preseason games, keep him at defensive end. The other things too is I still feel like, even though that Austin Booker was dominant, I still kind of would feel better if they signed a veteran, just to kind of, just someone that you know can come off and play well. Because with Dom Rob, because still Dominique Robinson, Passanio, and also Austin Booker are your three backups coming off the bench. And that doesn't make me feel good, right? If you had to bet money and say this person is going to be a solid contributor to the defensive end spot, you're not sold. Like we all saw what Austin Booker did last year. This is kind of what we saw. He looks better, right? So hopefully that translates to the regular season. But yeah, it's still, you can't have enough defensive ends. You can't have enough pass rushers. So to me, add someone, make this defensive line group great. And then next, what we're going to go, let's go over, and actually I just saw this comment. I 100% agree. Super Bowl Bears. Bieniemy does look like Lovie Smith. He totally stole Lovie's beard. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, he reminds me of someone. I couldn't point my finger at it. 100%, man. 100%. Like that beard. Yeah. Yeah. Lovie Smith's little brother. Tubby Smith. We got Tubby Smith on the sideline. Yeah, he would cuss me out with that for saying that. But yeah, so let's go into the special teams review and let's break this down because my God. And actually I could just read off what Shidrax just typed up because I 100% agree. Ben needs to yell at Hightower. I 100% agree. This special teams unit, if you want to talk about the worst thing to happen today, it was this special teams unit. This special teams unit, or Cairo, you're fine. Let's talk about the highs, right? This little man, Cairo Santos, drills that 57-yarder. It looked like it had height. It looked like it could have been good from 60. So I want to tip my cap to Cairo Santos for drilling that in Windy City, right? That is phenomenal. But everyone else, shame. There was a bad snap on that actual kick. Now, Tory Taylor seemingly got it well, and the operation was great. But man, our kick return coverage, our punt return coverage, awful across the board. Now, with Tory Taylor, I don't know if he's purposely trying, I hope he's purposely trying to get them the ball so that they can kind of run it back and do different things like that and not coffin corner it so that you can give them a chance to return it. But that's optimistic thinking. The special teams was not good today. It did not look good. The coverage was awful. And then two, even the returns, you would see them getting their like all sorts of incredible yardage. And we were getting it like to hardly to the 20-yard line, right? And that's where, yeah, you're like, what? You kind of like as soon as I started seeing this, you're like, wait, why did we keep Hightower, right? Like that special teams unit seemed like it was different than the defense. It was different than the offense. And that was the only holdover that you had from Eberflus. Yeah, Ben Johnson should totally sit him down and be like, what are you doing? Right? You got to step your game up, right? The standard was down here last season and the couple seasons before that. The standard's here. You guys got to be playing better. That was awful. Now I know that they have Malik Washington, Taj Washington, so some playmakers. But we got playmakers too. That's the whole MO of this Ben Johnson system is that we have 1.5 million playmakers. Also, I don't know why Kyle Monangai was the kick returner. Maybe they just wanted to try him out. But man, our special teams was awful. Just absolute trash. That was awful. So hopefully they get it better for next week. But man, it was gross. It was gross, right? Everybody drank. It was gross. So they get the gross award for sure. It was awful. And then now let's go to the MVP. So everyone that's watching, let me know your most valuable Bear down below in the comments. Who was the best player today? Because it's Cairo Santos. No, his 57-yarder impressed me more. I think we all know who the most valuable Bear was. I think we all know it's Booker, right? It's 100% Booker. I think that he definitely got it. He was the most dominant person out there. Now I want to challenge everyone. If you had to give a backup like this to a different person besides Booker, who would it be? So I want to just like kind of bring that up. Who would you give it out to if it wasn't Austin Booker? Because like who is it? right? I'm looking at it, and let's just kind of pull up the stats, because like from a running game, Kyle Monungai 30 yards, like, but it wasn't like the dude held the team together. I would argue Case Keenum for his 10 passes, 2 touchdowns. He was good, right? If you had to go with the offense, because Jade Walker played well, but was it that amazing? Maurice Alexander had the phenomenal toe tapping. I would say if it's the offense, I would actually probably go Case Keenum, honestly. And then defense, I mean, Noah Sewell had that epic stop. Like, that was just an epic stop overall. I thought that I would probably give it to, I'd say Sewell on the defense. And I'd say on the defense, I'd probably give it to Sewell. And then on the offense, I would say that's actually Keenum. I'd say Keenum overall would probably be the person. So, yeah, I'd say he would. And also, Sean saying Sewell has a great game and didn't get injured. The didn't get injured is his number one thing. Actually, let me look at the injury report just to be on the safe side. Let me see. All right, no, he did not get injured. Okay. I was like, I have to verify it because, man, we see way too much. Yeah, Noah Sewell gets it for not getting hurt. We'll give it to him. But yeah, Keenum was a monster. Keenum for the offense, and then Sewell, and then for the just being an absolute behemoth and being an absolute animal, Austin Booker gets it as well. So everyone out there on YouTube, if you haven't already, all the cool kids are hitting the like button. You should too. Unless you like the Packers, then you don't have to hit the like button. So if you don't like the Packers, hit the like button. And also make sure to subscribe out there. Hit the notification bell, because I'm going to try to get back onto an actual schedule now. So maybe you don't have to hit the bell. But tomorrow, I don't have to work. I don't have to work my day job. So I am waiting till the All 22 comes out. Because what I want to do is I want to try and snip up some of those videos for you out there on YouTube to really kind of break it down. But we will be live. We will be breaking it down and going through the All 22, going through every single play together, and then we will know. And then I'll try to get a little audio podcast out there for everyone that listens to the show too, to just kind of summarize things out there. But yes, Drax, the All 22 will be out there. So I'm pumped up. Hope to see you all there. And with that, have a great night. Unbearable Sports Podcast. We are out.
Yeah, she's got some nice long hair, and you know that she's a